Now, the next question number 11 says, a boy was making a model of electric bell. He connected to the coil in the circuit and switched it on. However, the magnetism produced in the coil was not strong enough. Then he made some changes in the coil and the circuit was now working properly. He also found out other ways of producing strong magnetism. Read the passage and answer the following questions. We have been given this passage and we have to answer the question of the question that has been given. What changes did the boy make in the coil? Second one is, what values of the boy would you appreciate? Third one is, which other ways did he discover for increasing the strength of magnet? So now, since it has been asked that what changes did the boy make in the coil, why did he make changes in the coil? You have to first read the passage properly and then see the answer is hidden in the question only. Okay. He connected to the coil in the circuit and switched it on. However, the magnetism produced in the coil was not strong enough. Since the magnetism was not strong enough, so he made some changes in the circuit, changes in the coil. It means if we have to make the magnetism strong, what we can do? What changes we can make? We can either make the number of coils more. We can increase the number of coils. Okay. Or we can do one thing, we can place a soft iron rod in the coil so that we can decrease the gap between coil and between the coil. So the answer of first will be, I think I should not have to write the answer because it is a thing that we have to think about. So its answer will be the changes the boy make in the coil, whether it will be making increase the number of coil, whether it will be he will be increasing the number of coil, or secondly maybe he is inserting a soft iron rod in the coil. Okay. So the second part is what values, since it is a 3-mark question and 3 parts has been given of the question, that means it is composed of 1 mark. So you have not to stretch the length of the answer, you just have to be on the point. What values of the boy would you appreciate? Since this boy is very observant and he knows that the magnetism was not strong enough, so he did one thing, he made some changes. That means he is a scientifically tempered person. He is an observant boy and he is a practical boy because he has applied his knowledge in making the magnetic field strong. So, and he is curious also because he was trying to find that why the magnetic field is not strong enough and what changes I can make in this. So, I can find these 3 properties of the boy very important, that a boy is, this is the B part, a boy is very observant. Why? Because he is observing what is being happened in the circuit. Inquisitive, that he is very curious to know why the magnetic field is not strong enough. Scientifically tempered, and moreover he is practical. These are the sum of values of the boy that we can appreciate. Okay, so our third part, which other ways did he discover for increasing the strength of magnet? He had made some changes in the magnet. He had increased the number of coils, but still he had made some changes again to discover the increasing strength of magnet. What he could do is, he can increase the current in the circuit. If he is going to do if he is going to increase the amount of current in the circuit, then definitely he is going to increase the strength of magnet, because this is the only option here that because he has applied two of the method, that he has increased the number of coils, he has inserted a soft iron rod in the magnet in the coil, and now to increase the strength of magnet he must have increased the current in the coil. Okay, so the third part will be increase of current. Increase of current in the coil, in the circuit. Okay, so these are the three equations which is based on our thinking, like what we think about this, because this is not a theoretical part. Theoretical knowledge is based on this, like we should know that how the magnetism can be increased, how the strength of magnetic field, how the strength of magnet can be increased, but then you have to think what the changes and what are the values of the boy that you would appreciate. This is based on totally your thinking, but yeah, first and third is based on the chapter magnetism that you have to study clearly. Okay, so now we'll move to the second the next question, but first look at this and think about it. We'll move to the second question. Okay, so let's move to the next question of the sample paper, which is what is the difference between a direct current and an alternating current, and how many times does AC used in India change direction in 1 second. So there are the two parts of the question. In first part, what is he asking us? He is asking us to differentiate between the DC and AC, that means direct current and alternating current. And we all know what is the difference between DC and AC. This is nothing but, if we are saying this is my time axis and this is my voltage axis, then my DC would be constant. That means DC flows in one direction only, in one direction only, and it does not change its direction periodically. Whereas if I am talking about AC, this is the case of DC. Okay, so if I am going to talk about AC, that means it is going to change its direction twice in a second. So if it is my voltage and this is my time axis, that means with the time the voltage is being changed periodically. So in the statement we can say that DC is the current which flows in one direction only and it does not change its direction. While for the case of AC, we can say AC is the current, that is alternating current, which changes its direction periodically. Okay. So further we are asked in the second part that how many times does AC used in India change direction in 1 second. And we know that since we know that AC is changing direction periodically, we also know that in India the frequency of AC is 50 Hertz. Alright. So now we say that this AC is changing its direction twice in 1 second. Since we have seen here, this is changing its direction twice. So we can say in 1 second, change in direction would be, change in direction of AC would be equal to this 50 into 2. That means 100 times. Alright. Why? Because we know that the frequency is 50 Hertz and we also know that the AC is changing its direction twice. So what we have done, we have multiplied this frequency into 2, that means 2 times. So in 1 second, the change in direction of AC would be 100 times. The question was, how many times does AC used in India change direction in 1 second? So the answer would be 50 into 2, that is 100 times. So further in the second part, it is asked us that in what respect motors are different from the generators. That means basically he is asking us to differentiate between motors and generators. And we all know the difference between motors and generators, where motors are used to convert electrical energy into mechanical energy. Okay? So we can say motors convert electrical energy into mechanical energy. Whereas if I talk about generators, so what is generator doing? Nothing but it is converting the mechanical energy into electrical energy. So they are totally different with each other in the way that one is converting mechanical to electrical and other one is converting electrical to mechanical. So generators are converting mechanical energy into electrical energy. So this is the main and basic differentiation between generators and motors. So wherever it will be asked to you that you have to differentiate between motor and generator. So this is the basic thing that you should tell to them, because this is the respect in which we can say that motors are different from generators. So I think we are done with this question, because we have told them that what is the difference between a DC and an AC. We know that DC flows in one direction, whereas AC flows in the AC changes its direction periodically. And in the further part, they told us to tell how many times does AC used in India change direction in 1 second. And what we have said, since the frequency in India is 50 Hertz and the AC is changing its direction twice, so we have multiplied that 50 into 2. So we have said that in 1 second the change in direction would be 50 into 2, so that means total 100 times. So I think we are done with the question, and it's time to just note this question and then we will move to the next question.
Okay guys, so once again I'm here and now I got question number 13th with me. And the question is, okay, so it's an OR question, so you have an optional question also. You can do either this question or this question. Let me discuss both of them. The question is, you have to discuss the properties of ionic compounds. Okay, so what are the properties of ionic compounds? Let us discuss them. So ionic compounds, you know, right? Ionic compounds are the compounds having the cation-anion interactions taking place. So you know that the cation-anion interactions which are taking place are strong electrostatic forces of attraction. So since these are so strong electrostatic forces of attraction, this is the reason the ionic compounds will be generally hard solids. Why hard solids? Because if the interaction between the components, the cation and anion, is strong, then it is very difficult to make them go away from each other. So the cation and anion interaction are strong electrostatic force of attraction and hence they are hard solids. Okay. The second property is, since they have strong electrostatic force of attraction, so it is very difficult to make them go away from each other, and thus they will have a higher value of melting point and boiling point. So the same reason is there, that the melting boiling points are high because of strong electrostatic forces of attraction present between the cations and anions. And the third very important property of an ionic compound is that ionic compounds are soluble in aqueous solutions and they are insoluble in kerosene oil or other vegetable oils, etc. That means the ionic compounds are not going to be solubilized in the organic solutions, rather they will be easily soluble in the aqueous solutions, maybe water or any other aqueous solution that you consider. And this is again because of the presence of the cations and anions, which are charged particles. You know, right, charged particles are much more soluble into the aqueous solutions compared to the organic solvents, right? Okay. Now, having done with this particular question, let me come back to the question and now let me read the second part. So, let's see what is there in the second part. The second part says that a white colored powder is used by doctors for supporting fractured bones. You must be knowing what is that white color powder, which is actually used by doctors to support the bones. So this particular powder is CaSO4 dot half H2O. Okay, so the question is, what is the chemical name and the formula of the powder? So the formula I have written calcium sulfate hemi. Hemi means half. So the name is calcium sulfate hemi hydrate. Okay, and the formula is CaSO4 dot half H2O. Now the second question is, when water is added to this white powder, a hard solid mass is obtained. Write its chemical name and the formula. Okay, so see, when you will dissolve this calcium sulfate hemihydrate is nothing but plaster of Paris. Okay, so when this calcium sulfate hemihydrate, which is known as plaster of Paris, is dissolved in water or is added to water, it does not become a complete solution. So not a complete solution will be formed, rather you will get a very hard paste, which will be CaSO4 dot 2H2, and the name will be calcium sulfate dihydrate, and the common name will be gypsum. Okay, and moving on to the third question, write the balanced chemical equation for the above change. So the balanced chemical equation will be CaSO4 dot half H2O plus 1.5 molecule of water, which is nothing but 3/2 water molecule, leading to the formation of CaSO4 dot 2H2O. Dun, 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 dun. That's it. Okay, so this is the final answer to the question that I have written. Now, I'll tell you one thing, like so many students will be thinking, should we attempt this question or that question? Please go for this question, since it's like, you know, you answer A part, you'll get one, another one, another one. So it's easy, plus you don't have to write anything. So just write this much and things are done. Fine. So this was the question number 13th. Now let me say, let's see if another question is there. That's a brain structure. So the next question is for bio. So your bio teacher is now going to explain you the 14th question. So let me go now and I'll be back after some time. Bye-bye.
Okay friends, so now we will discuss the question 14, which is a diagrammatic question. The figure shows a diagram of the human brain. Have you ever seen your brain? I would ask you. You will say no, yes. Observe it carefully to identify the parts P to R, PQ and R. Also write down the function of each of them. Good. So when you look at this, can you observe that the part P labeled as P, I'm sorry, this part which is labeled as P is highly convoluted. Convoluted mean you can see a lot of foldings, you know, in this. Okay, so the part which shows a lot of convolution, lot of folding, this part is called as the cerebrum. So I'll label the part P as cerebrum. Okay. Then after P we come the Q. Okay, after P the next one is Q. And what is Q? The Q is, we can see it is a gland. It is a a gland, a very small gland of the size of pea. Okay, basically this is the this produces the master hormone. Okay, the pituitary gland we call it as. So the pituitary gland, which is the master gland. Further we will see that it has two parts, the anterior pituitary, okay, and the posterior pituitary hormone. Two types of basic things are there, and this part is the medulla oblongata. Okay, medulla oblongata. Okay, so these are the three things which are there, P, Q and R. Okay, P, Q and R. Now let us discuss each of them in detail, the part P. So let us write about the cerebrum. The cerebrum consists of two cerebral hemispheres, okay, consist of two cerebral hemispheres, okay. It consists of two cerebral hemispheres. The next one, the cerebrum, this is highly convoluted as it increases the surface area, okay. It is highly convoluted as it increases the surface area, right. So this consists of two cerebral hemispheres. It is highly convoluted as it increases the surface area. Now what is the function of the cerebrum? That is, that is a part of our question. So function of cerebrum, okay, one that it is associated, responsible for memory, okay, responsible for memory. That is why we say, okay, the more convoluted someone's brains is, someone's cerebrum is, the more will be the surface area and the more intelligent will be the person. I don't know how much convolutions your cerebrum has, but definitely I think I have some less of cerebrum. Okay, no comments. The second function of cerebrum is controls mostly voluntary, okay, controls mostly voluntary and some controls mostly voluntary and some involuntary activities. Okay. So the function of cerebrum, number one, this cerebrum part is responsible for the memory. The second one, it controls mostly voluntary and some, that is very few, involuntary activities. What are voluntary activities? Activities which we can do on our own. I'll tell you, pick up this, this pointer. Okay, I can pick it up. I'll tell you, run, you start running. You can do it on your own. But what about the movement of the stomach? Are they under your control? What about the movement, of the muscle in your leg? I mean, inside your leg, is it under your control? No. So those activities which are under our control, which we can do on our wish, playing, picking up the hand, dropping down the hand, these are voluntary activities. And those which are not under our will, which we cannot do on our own, I mean, from our will, are the involuntary activities. Got it? So this is the cerebrum. Next we will discuss about the Q part, that is the pituitary gland. So the pituitary gland first of all is of the size of a pea, okay, the size of a pea. Second, it is an endocrine gland, okay, it is an endocrine gland. And what do you mean by the endocrine gland? What do you mean by the endocrine gland? By the term endocrine gland, you mean that it will secrete its hormone. It will secrete its hormone, okay, directly, directly in the blood. That is, there is no duct. The secretion of these hormones of the endocrine glands, whatever hormones these endocrine glands secrete, these secretions or these hormones are directly poured into the blood. So there are no ducts in the endocrine gland, and hence endocrine glands are also called as the ductless glands, okay. So the pituitary gland is also a ductless gland or an endocrine gland. It is the size of the pea. It is, it produces the master hormone, and that is why it is called as the master endocrine gland, okay. It secretes, it has two parts, the anterior pituitary and the posterior pituitary, okay. The anterior pituitary, and the posterior pituitary. Right? The anterior pituitary and the posterior pituitary, and this pituitary gland secretes, they secrete many hormone, including the follicular stimulating hormone FSH, which is responsible for the process of reproduction, okay. So this was the function of the pituitary gland. This is an endocrine gland, and this is an endocrine gland secreting the master hormone. It has two parts, anterior and pituitary, posterior pituitary, and secretes many hormones, okay. Then we move on to the next part, that is the medulla oblongata. The R. So this medulla oblongata, this part, the medulla oblongata, is mainly responsible, or mainly takes control of the reflex actions, okay, and mainly the involuntary actions, okay, the unconscious, that is the unconscious activities which are not under our control, okay. So mainly controls the complex. This mainly controls the complex and unconscious, okay, the complex and unconscious activities which are not under our control. That is, the medulla oblongata will mainly control the involuntary actions, okay. It will mainly control the involuntary actions. Got it? So these are the parts. P is the cerebrum, Q is the pituitary gland, and R is the medulla oblongata. We move on to the next question. The figure shows various endocrine glands present in a human female. Okay. Which of the labeled gland is exclusively present in females, and name the hormone secreted by the gland which mentioned in A, that is name the hormone which is secreted by the gland which is exclusively present in female. I think the question itself has the answer. I have given you this diagram, this particular diagram, so as to just to give you a basic idea. Okay, this question is basically to give you a basic idea about the different types of the glands which are present in the body and where is this present. Okay, this question itself is formed so that you know the answer. So first of all, we have the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus, this is basically it controls the temperature of the body, okay, and many other functions, but mainly the temperature. That is why the hypothalamus is also called as the thermostat of the body. Okay, the pituitary we just discussed, pea-sized gland, an endocrine gland, the master endocrine gland of the body, has two parts, anterior and posterior pituitary, and has many roles. Okay, it secretes follicular stimulating hormone and many other hormones. Basically, the anterior pituitary secretes 6 hormones. Okay, that is more than enough for you. This is the thyroid gland, which is located right in the middle of the neck over here. Okay, it has many cartilages, the thyroid cartilage, the cricoid cartilage and all that, not to be known in detail at this stage. The thyroid, the thyroid gland will secrete a hormone called the thyroid hormone. Okay, thyroid hormone. The thymus, here is the thymus. Then we have the adrenal gland. Then we have the pancreas. Okay, then the female gonads, the ovaries. Yes, these are the glands, the ovaries, which are these ovaries are exclusively present in the female. Okay, and the male gonads is the testis, right? It is in these testes that the sperms, that is the male gamete, the sperms will be found, and it is in these female gonads, ovaries, that the female ova, that is the ovum or the female gamete will be formed. Okay, so which of the labeled gland is exclusively present in females? The answer for A will be the gland exclusively present in females is what? Is the ovary. Okay, and name the hormone secreted by the gland mentioned in A. So the hormone secreted by ovary is what? I think you know it. Hormones secreted, the hormone secreted by the ovary will be what? The first one is estrogen. Okay, estrogen, and the other one will be progesterone. Okay, progesterone. Right? So the hormone secreted by the ovary, the first one is estrogen and the other one is the progesterone. So if I ask you which is the gland over here which is exclusively present in the male, you will say it is testes. Okay, it is in the testes, okay, where the male gamete, that is the sperm, will be formed. Okay. So now we move on to the next question. Describe the steps involved in obtaining biogas and explain what is meant by anaerobic decomposition. Which isotope of uranium can undergo fission readily. Okay, so let us solve the first part of the question, that is 16a. Okay, the steps involved in obtaining biogas. We all know that biogas is what? A mixture of methane, okay, mixture of methane, carbon dioxide, moisture and other gases. The main component of which will be methane. So how is the biogas produced? We also know, and why do we need to produce the biogas? My dear friends, biogas is a gas which can be compressed, like how we compress the natural gas CNG. Compressed natural gas when it compressed is called the CNG. So even the biogas can be obtained in such form. And what will be the use? Biogas is a high source of energy. It can be used for cooking, it can be used for other purposes where a lot of energy is required. So we should know how to obtain this biogas. The biogas basically, can be obtained from an animal dung or the cow dung. Okay, the biogas can be obtained from anaerobic. Okay, biogas can be obtained from anaerobic decomposition, of the animal dung or the cow dung. I hope every one of you know what is an animal dung or a cow dung. If no one knows, ask your friend, and my dear friend, please tell your friend, go and show to your friend what an animal or cow dung is. Okay. So by the anaerobic decomposition of the animal dung or the cow dung. So what do we do here basically? We take the animal dung or cow dung and we mix it with water to prepare a slurry. Okay, to prepare a slurry. Now this slurry is fed into the anaerobic digester, where what is happening, where some anaerobic organisms, some methanogens are put in that anaerobic digester, so that there is anaerobic decomposition of this cow dung, and in the process the biogas is produced. Pipelines are connected to this digester so that this biogas can be obtained and supplied wherever and whenever required. So if I have to write the steps, so you can write this till now, that biogas is a mixture of methane, carbon dioxide, moisture and other gases. Biogas can be obtained from the anaerobic decomposition of the animal dung or the cow dung. Okay. So now what I will write is, the first step will be that animal dung or cow dung is mixed with water, to prepare a slurry. Okay, to prepare a slurry. Slurry means a liquid, semi-liquid type, like how, for example, you eat dali or something like that, or khichdi. If you have ever eaten khichdi in your life, I hope you all, okay, because no one is an executive over here. Even executives love khichdi, okay, that was something nonsense. So animal dung or cow dung is mixed with water to prepare a slurry. Now this slurry is fed into the anaerobic digester. This slurry is fed into the anaerobic, this slurry is fed into the anaerobic digester where microorganisms like methanogens, okay, like methanogens act and bring about the anaerobic decomposition, act and bring about the anaerobic decomposition of organic material, and what is the organic material here? The organic material here is the cow dung or animal dung, okay, cow dung or the animal dung. So this slurry is fed into the anaerobic digester where microorganisms like methanogens act and bring about the anaerobic decomposition of the organic material, which is the cow dung, to produce the biogas. Pipelines are connected in this anaerobic digester to collect the biogas, right? Pipelines are connected to this to collect the biogas. Got it? Clear? So any organic material, not any organic material, basically organic material containing the animal dung or the cow dung is fed into the anaerobic digester. In the anaerobic digester, we have already placed methanogens. These methanogen will act and decompose this organic material in the absence of oxygen, and hence anaerobic decomposition, okay, in the absence of oxygen, to produce the methane gas and other gases which together comprises or together makes up of the biogas. There are pipelines connected there. So the biogas which is being produced will be collected by the pipelines and supplied whenever and wherever needed. So this completes my first part of the question. This completes my first part of the question, and now we will see the second part and explain what is meant by anaerobic decomposition. The question itself is self-explanatory. Anaerobic decomposition. You have to be a scientist to answer this. You have to be a scientist to answer this. This meant in the other way around. Why? Because it is self-explanatory. Okay, is it self-justifying decomposition of any organic material or any material in the absence of oxygen. Okay, so I'll write this as decomposition of organic material in the absence of oxygen, okay, in the So decomposition of organic material in the absence of oxygen will be called as anaerobic decomposition. Okay. Next question, next part, this part is completed. We'll see this point, which isotope of uranium can undergo fission readily? Which isotope of uranium? This is actually a part of physics, okay, a physics question. So probably we can say that uranium 235 isotope of uranium can undergo fission readily. So friends, we have completed this question, and now let us go to the next question. Okay, what is the ethanoic acid? Write the formula. Okay, I think this is the chemistry question, so the the concerned faculty will come and solve this question.
Okay guys, so once again I am here, and now I have got this question number 17 for you, which you can see on the screen. Again, it has got two parts. So let me do the first part first of all. The question is, what is ethanoic acid? So now I'll be writing in this particular section so that we can read the question from here. What is ethanoic acid? Write the formula of the functional group present in the acid. So see, you know, right, ethanoic acid, eth means 2. So the formula will be CH3COOH. So this compound is known as ethanoic acid, and the functional group that is present is carboxylic acid, which is COOH. So two things are done, right? Another name of ethanoic acid is also acetic acid, which is CH3COOH. Fine? Okay. Now moving further, what special name is given to 5 to 8% of the solution of ethanoic acid in water? You know, right? When we dissolve 5 to 8% ethanoic acid in water, then this will be known as vinegar. So 5 to 8% solution of ethanoic acid in water is known as vinegar. Okay. Now the next thing, how does ethanoic acid react with sodium carbonate? Okay, we need to study the reaction of ethanoic acid with Na2CO3, which is sodium carbonate. Write a chemical equation for the reaction and the common name of the salt that has been produced. So now I need to rub it. So you need to do the reaction of ethanoic acid with sodium carbonate. Let's start writing down. Ethanoic acid is CH3COOH plus sodium Na2CO3 carbonate, aqueous. This is also aqueous. So the salt will be formed, which is CH3COO minus Na plus H2O plus CO2. Let me see if the equation is balanced. CH3COO, CH3COO. But 2 Na are there. So multiply it with 2, 2 Na are there. Okay. Now, so 2 Na done. How many CO3 are there? So 1 carbon is there, 2 plus 1, 3 oxygens, 2 hydrogens, 2 hydrogens. So this is the balanced chemical equation of the reaction of ethanoic acid with sodium carbonate to form, we need to tell the name also, so don't forget, this is sodium ethanoate, or so sodium ethanoate, or this is also known as sodium acetate. Okay, so that is how we would do the question. Clear? Now, okay, now we need to do the second part of the question. Let's read out the second part of the question, which says that an ester has the molecular formula C4H8O2. Write its structural formula. So the formula is C4H8O2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 2O. So I need to use them, and you need to write the structural formula. So from the question you can understand, right, there won't be just one particular formula, there can be n number of, like, so many number of formulas. So since it's ester, so this I am sure that it should be CH3COO something. So this should be CH3COO something, CH3COO something, CH3COO, I mean COO something, COO something. So we have already used CO2, CO2, CO2. So remove one carbon, remove the 2 oxygens. Now you need to do the permutation combination of these carbons and hydrogens. So let me first place one CH3 on the right. So one CH3 on the right you have placed, 1, 2, 3. Okay. So now you are left with C2 and H5. C2H5, that's it. So this is CH3, CH2. So C2H5, COO, CH3. Clear? Now let me place two carbons on the right hand side. So 2 carbons on right hand side. So a total of 5 hydrogens. So 2 carbons and 5 hydrogens we have done. So now we are left with, by the way, we are done with one more C, right? So this C was already done. So 2 carbons placed. So now we are left with 1 C and 3 H. So simply put CH3. So when 1 C was here, 2 C's were here. When 2 C are here, 1 C is here. Let's draw another. See, you can't place one hydrogen here because then it will be acid. COOH is acid, not ester, right? So can I place one H here? Yes. Then I can place all the 3 carbons there. Okay, so see the formula, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 carbons, 2 oxygens, 3 to 5, 5 to 7, 7 plus 1, 8. So these are the 3 possible conditions. There is no 4th possible condition for the ester that will be formed. Clear? So an ester has the molecular formula C4H8O2. Write its structural formula. What happens when the ester is heated in the presence of sodium hydroxide solution? Now let's start heating the ester with NaOH. 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 So see, when the ester will be heated with NaOH, what will happen? You will get CH3, CH2, COOH plus CH3OH. So this bond will break. Always this bond will break. So you will get CH3, CH2, COO. So since COOH will be formed, but then this is also acid. So the acid will further react with NaOH to form salt. CH3COO negative Na plus CH3OH. Okay. So similarly here you will get CH3CO O minus Na plus CH3CH2OH. Make sure the number of carbon atoms you are not changing. 2 plus 2, 4, 1 plus 3, 4, and now you will have HCOO minus Na plus CH3, CH2, CH2OH. Clear? Okay. Let me read out the further part. Write the balanced chemical equation for the reactions we have written and name the products. Okay, let's name the products. What is a saponification reaction? So see, this is sodium 1, 2, 3 propanoate. Okay, so this is sodium 1, 2 ethanoate, and the last one is sodium, only 1 carbon atom, formate. Okay. Now let's see the next part, and the next part is what is saponification reaction. You know what is saponification reaction? All the above ones that you have done are saponification. So whenever an ester will be treated with a base, aqueous base, may it be NaOH or KOH, it will lead to the formation of sodium salt of the acid plus water will be released, and this particular reaction will be known as saponification reaction. Okay. So this was the entire details about the question number 17. Okay. Let me now see. No, the next question is probably of bio. So let me call upon your bio teacher, and I'll be meeting you soon after some time. Bye-bye.
Okay friends, so now we will do the next question. What are the environmental consequences of using the fossil fuels? Yes, definitely the fossil fuels are dangerous as they cause so much air pollution, acidic rain, the disbalance caused by the greenhouse effect of gases like carbon dioxide. Okay, suggest the steps to minimize the pollution caused by various sources of energy, including the non-conventional sources of energy causing global warming. So we will now discuss this. What are the environmental consequences of using the fossil fuel, right? Environmental causes or environmental consequences of using fossil fuels. Okay, so the environmental consequences of using fossil fuel. The first of them will be that air pollution, the air pollution due to burning of these fossil fuel. The air pollution due to burning of these fossil fuel, and there will be a lot of pollution in the air, the smoke, okay, and so many harmful products added to the air along with the smoke, which will cause the air pollution. The second one we can write is that oxides of carbon, nitrogen, and sulfur are released, which are acidic oxides, Now these acidic oxides, they cause what? These acidic oxides, they cause the acidic rain. Okay, these acidic oxides are responsible for acidic rain these acidic oxides are responsible for acidic rain, which disturbs or pollutes the water as well as the soil. The water as well as soil. Okay, so air pollution due to burning of the fossil fuel, oxides of carbon, nitrogen and sulfur are released, which are acidic oxides, and these acidic oxides are responsible for acidic rain, which disturbs or pollutes the water as well as the soil. What other can be there? The greenhouse effect of gases. The greenhouse effect of gases. The third point, what the third harmful effect can be, that the greenhouse effect of gases like carbon dioxide, which causes global warming, hence leading to the melting of the glaciers, hence leading to the melting of hence leading to the melting of glaciers, causing a rise in the sea level, causing a rise in sea level, and hence a danger to the living land organisms, because then everything would be submerged in water. So the greenhouse effect of the gases like carbon dioxide, okay, which causes global warming, hence leading to the melting of glaciers, causing a rise in the sea level, and hence a danger to the living land organisms, okay, and hence a danger to the living land organisms. So what are the environmental consequences of using fossil fuel? Yes, if you use the fossil fuel, this can pollute the air because of smokes, harmful gases, poisonous gases. This can, produce acidic rain. This acidic rain is due to the, the oxides of carbon, oxides of sulfur, oxides of nitrogen, which will produce the acidic rain. This acidic rain can pollute again the water and the soil. And third one, the greenhouse effect of gases like CO2, which will make the temperature of the earth rise, hence that is global warming, hence the melting of the glaciers and the rise in sea level, causing danger to the land organisms. Now suggest the steps to minimize the pollution. What can be the steps to minimize the pollution? Okay, effective burning of these fossil fuels can be one of the ways. Okay, effective burning, those steps to minimize the pollution, okay, steps to minimize the pollution caused by various sources of energy or simply I can write this as steps to minimize the pollution. First of them, effective and minimal burning of the fuels, effective and minimal burning of the fuels, so that more harmful gases or more toxic gases are converted, okay, so that more toxic gases are converted to less toxic gases, okay. Effective and minimal burning of fuels so that more toxic gases are converted to less toxic gases. Second, afforestation. Second is what? Afforestation, and that is what does it mean? Afforestation means that planting of more trees, okay, planting of more trees. So basically we can say planting of more trees removes CO2 from the atmosphere, right? Because the trees, by the process of photosynthesis, they take in carbon dioxide, they give out oxygen, and hence they add to the purity of the environment, or they increase the purity of the environment. Planting of more trees removes CO2 and adds oxygen to the environment. Okay. What can be the other ways? Third one, we can use the liquefied petroleum gas for the domestic fuel purpose and the compressed natural gas for the automobile purpose, in which in both of them the amount of pollution caused is very less or negligible. Promotion of usage, promotion of usage of LPG, that is liquefied petroleum gas, promotion of usage of LPG, that is liquefied petroleum gas, for domestic use, and CNG, that is compressed natural gas, compressed and the compressed natural gas, compressed natural gas for automobile purposes, right? So, the steps to minimize the pollution: effective and minimal burning of the fuel so that more toxic gases are converted to less toxic gases, afforestation, planting of more trees, removes CO2 and adds oxygen to the environment, and promotion of usage of LPG, that is liquefied petroleum gas, for domestic use, and the compressed natural gas, as they had put in Delhi, compulsory for the for all the cab drivers and autos for automobile purpose, which will also reduce the pollution. So these are the ways, and with this we finish the answer to this particular question. Let us now see the next question. Draw the magnetic field lines through and around a single loop of wire carrying electric current. So this is a physics question which will be dealt by the concerned physics faculty.
So now our next question is, draw the magnetic field lines through and around a single loop of wire carrying electric current. And the second part of the question is, alpha particles are positively charged particles. State whether an alpha particle will experience any force in a magnetic field if, firstly, if it is placed in magnetic field at rest, if it is moving in the magnetic field parallel to the magnetic field lines, and thirdly, if it is moving in the magnetic field line perpendicular to the field lines. We have to justify our answer in all these three cases. So firstly, we are going to do with the first part, we have to draw the magnetic field lines through and around a single loop of wire carrying electric current. So what we can do is, we are going to make a loop. This is the loop. And now what we are going to do is, we are going to draw electric field lines firstly. We can say that this is a north pole and this is a south pole. So we know that magnetic field lines originate from north pole and entered into the south pole. Again, also what we have to show here is, we have been shown around a around a single loop of wire, but inside it we can show here is that the magnetic field is here. This is a positive and this is a negative. So this is important that you have to show, because this has been asked in the question that we have to draw through and around a single loop of wire. through and around. So now we will move to the second part. Just look at this and then we will move to the second part. Alpha particles. Alpha particles are positively charged particle, and we have to give when if it is placed in a magnetic field at rest, is there any force that is going to be applied? So we have to tell them that no force is going to be applied, because if a particle is at rest, then it will not going to experience any force in a magnetic field, because a force is experienced if a body is in motion, then only it can experience a force. Otherwise no such force will be experienced if the body is at rest. So the answer is no, and we have to justify it. No, because a force is experienced only if the particle is at motion in the magnetic field. Okay, so the reason is no, and the reason is that if the object would be in motion, then only it would experience a force. Secondly, if it is moving in the magnetic field lines parallel to the field lines, so will it experience any force? Again no. Why? Because according to the Fleming's left hand rule, if it is my left hand, then this is the direction of current, I would say I. This is direction of magnetic field, and this is the direction of force. So now, since we can see magnetic field line and force is perpendicular to each other, but here it has been asked that the magnetic field line is parallel to the field lines, then no force is going to be applied, no force is going to be experienced if the particle is moving in the direction of magnetic field, that means parallel to the magnetic field. If it is been moving in perpendicular to the direction of field, then only it would be experiencing any force. So no such force will be experienced here, and the reason I have told you that because it is parallel to the field lines. It moves in the magnetic field line perpendicular to the field line. Just tell me now then whether it will be experiencing any force or not. So here, yes, it will experience a force. Why? Because it is moving perpendicular to the field lines, and when an object is moving perpendicular to the field lines, then it will definitely experience a force in the direction of motion. Okay, so the reason is it will experience a force perpendicular to the direction of motion. Okay. So thirdly, we have justified in each case. We have done with the magnetic field lines through a single loop of wire. We have done with the three forces that we have to tell whether it will experience or not, and we have justified also. I think we have done with the question, and now we'll move to the next question. Okay, just look at this and we'll move to the second part.